This is not just like a light boil. You got the full rolling boil, and I think that's probably about 250 mil. And it was probably happening about 110, 111, but let's say 112 because you can all see that. So that would have been 7 minutes tops. Out on the front porch today, just because it's a convenient surface outside, and I want to try this out. It's an older set. They're still selling them. I'm seeing them anywhere from 130 to 200 bucks on Amazon. This one is a Trangia. I think it's a 27. So my mom passed this on to me from another relative who knows I'm into this kind of stuff, who volunteers at the thrift shop, and they found it. Again, an older model. I don't even know what year. But I do believe it's a 27. So you've got your fry pan handle. You've got this world's smallest kettle in here, it looks like. Let me just flip out these things. I would say, too, for me, it wasn't when I looked at it, because I've already looked at it once. I haven't started it, though. The most difficult stove, but it also, I was like, I got the order kind of backwards. But we'll grab the teapot. And that is good for... I will need 2 of those in the morning if I'm out with a bunch of kids doing some scouting. Otherwise 1, maybe. So I've got 2 pots. There's a bigger and a smaller one, so not that it really matters, just slightly smaller. We've got this affair here. Now, at first, I thought that's the feet. That just kind of looked like it would work that way, and it could. I guess we want to use it in a different way. But that turns out to be potentially... your pot standoff if you need something bigger, who knows. And this is the bottom, and lots of airflow, and I love how they set this up. So I think this is great for an alcohol stove. If you look at it, a lot of air from the bottom. You can get an adapter, which I've considered. You can get a no-name one for like 25 bucks on AliExpress. Drop your stove in here, airflow comes up there. I think that's going to make some kind of a chimney effect, which is great. And instead of putting this on the bottom, this goes on the top and just fits into the groove. See the groove here, and it kind of even sort of locked in there when I got it right. That's kind of interesting. Well, that's good. It makes it more stable. So now that I want to do it, it doesn't. These are flipped down or up, I guess, depending on the size of the pot. So if you wanted to, you could have a full-size frying pan. I like alcohol stoves even without all this stuff, and you're going to need something to cook in, but you could do that in a lot of things. They'll work on their own. Just a couple of rocks, a couple lumps of wood, whatever you want, just to hold something off of it. And I think the optimal cook distance is going to be anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches. Now these Trangias are pretty straightforward. I'll put this down. I brought out a few extra supplies to show you, but you've got, this is your simmer control. I don't know about that, but I mean, definitely flame control ring. And then you've got a cover, kind of like a mason jar lid, and there's some rubberized material. I have a couple of these stoves, so it was nice. When I opened this up, I was so surprised to see that it had the whole kit, which when you look on them online, yeah, they come with a nice yellow plastic bag, which will stop it from rattling around. I think I would still get a few other things to add in here, maybe a cut down wooden spoon or a scraper and a spoon or something, and then I'd be set. Even a fork or spork if this was my whole system. But you've got a double walled setup. You can make these out of a Coke bottle or something, cut them in half, get some fiberglass, all kinds of, I might make one of those. I'm more into the wood gasifier cans. But so you add your alcohol, and if you look real close up there, you're going to see little pinholes. That's where the vapor is going to jet from eventually, and it takes a little bit to heat up and vaporize and all that. But okay, we'll put this away. This would go down right in the middle there, and then your larger pan, say frying pan, could sit right on there, and it does a good job. It's not going anywhere if you're on something flat, as long as you've got it in the right knock point, I guess. It fits that great, and these handles are on here pretty firm. Like once you've got a grip on it, it's not going anywhere. So I'm pretty comfortable with these. You know, just aluminum. I think the whole set's aluminum, although it's quite thick aluminum. You could get away with other stoves in there. I like that. Perhaps you could fire in maybe if you could fit it in there somehow, whisper light. I don't know if the feet would be in the way. But then I would probably flip this over anyway if I needed a pot stand, although I don't think I do with those. There's all kinds of other things you could put in here and use with this other than this. Just all came together. So again, that's kind of the Trangia 27 cook set spread out. I'm going to put some isopropyl. I wouldn't normally use that if I had a choice, but here it seems to be pretty hard to find some kind of marine fuel, which would be pretty good. You want that ethyl alcohol if you wanted to operate that indoors. I got the isopropyl because it's cheap. I haven't opened this one yet. It's like, even through COVID, about $5-6 a bottle Canadian. So we don't need a lot here to test it. I'm just going to put a bit in there. Okay, and a little trick. This stuff is going to be hard to see. It's going to have kind of a blue flame to it. But I've heard if you put a pinch of salt, I actually haven't tried this yet, but I've seen it on video, so I'm going to try it out. Just a little pinch of rock salt here, drop that in. Let's see if that's going to change the flame color for everyone to see. So, if the wind behaves and cooperates here, I can get a flame on my, and I've been playing with this earlier, so I might have actually, nice. Well, there we go. Okay. So let's see if we can get a flame out of it a second time. I had some candle wax stuck in it, and that made kind of a woof sound. I can see a flame, and it is true. When you add that salt in there, check it out. We've got that orange flame. Normally it'd be kind of a blue, hard to see. So just a pinch of salt. Wow, I'm actually glad. I think that was Waypoint Survival. I saw that. I think that's the name of the channel, and I can never remember people's names, but I like watching that channel because you see all kinds of Altoid stuff and so on. Now, what am I doing here? What I want to do is boil some water, and I'm going to use the bigger one over the smaller one, or the frying pan as the lid. Either one will work. I'm just going to add some water. I'm not even going to get like scientific about the volume. I just want to see how quick that's going to cook. So I think this is about 1 liter, 900 ml or something. The container, I'm going to go about halfway, and we're going to call that, oh, so now in this case, I'll flip those feet down. Yep, I would. Oh, that one's already down. What happens when you're a blind guy bushcrafter, huh? You don't always see the stuff. Now, there's that sitting in there nicely. There we go. Well, once you get it in there, it's great. I'm just going to use the frying pan as the lid. So, we'll come back in a few minutes. I'm going to check my phone for the time. Let's see what time we got, actually. It is 1:05. We're going to check in about 5 minutes and see if it's boiled. Got a little bit distracted there, which I have happened, let me tell you. And so it's 1:12, but I had noticed steam coming out of here at about 2 minutes ago. So at about 1:10, and I feel like it was really good in doing this at least a minute ago. And take a look. Also, I'm putting the phone in, like, take a look. This is not just like a light boil. You got the full rolling boil, and I think that's probably about 250 mil. And it was probably happening about 1:10, 1:11, but let's say 1:12 because you can all see that. So that would have been 7 minutes tops. And I wish I would have caught this on time, but I don't actually want to restart all this. I'm probably going to make some hot chocolate for my little guy and I, even though it's middle of summer. But that's, to me, that's ready. So what I want to do with that, pretty hot here, but it's not nearly as hot upside down there. And so if you needed somewhere to put that so you don't do anything weird to finish on your wood stains or whatever, you can grab this nice and firm. There's the flame going nice and strong. Still really bright orange. Now the tricky part to me, this is the part I haven't wrapped my brain around. How are we getting that out easily? So I think what I would do, now other people might be more brave, and there's a good wind here going. I'm interested to see how well that locked on there. I don't know if that's from the expansion and the heat, but I want to take that off. Now I can get at that flame easier. So these are really handy, and that's just one guy's opinion. And now I can slip this over, and if you're quick about it, you don't burn your hand. Oh, I don't know if you guys saw that though. And so that should be out already. I wouldn't touch that stove, but it doesn't take much you just snuff that out. See, these things work brilliantly. And that came up to boil pretty quick. It's going to cool off fast here too, but pretty cool. It's on aluminum. We've got some airflow, but you can see that was a good boil already. So going to convert that over to some hot chocolate. That's a Trangia 27. I feel like it's a decent kit, and getting that from someone as a gift, because I know I'm into that, awesome. Thanks a lot, Aunt Claire. Thanks, Mom, for bringing it. And that came from, I don't know, Op Shop, Sally Ann, House of Lazarus. There's a whole bunch of thrift areas out here. I'm not sure which one. So I bet you either didn't pay for it at all or it was super cheap. And when I see that on Amazon, I think about the cheapest I've seen a Canadian is 130, but I've seen it up to $230, and that's for the 27, not the bigger one or the smaller one. And I have no idea why there's a $70 spread, but it's a good score. If you can find one at the thrift shop, they've been around for decades now. I would pick it up. I think for me, if you want an alcohol stove, that's the way to go. You've got the full kit, just add in a few little cooking bits here and there, and there's lots of room when you pack this down. So I don't know if they made it that way on purpose, but darn, that's close to 1 kilo or 2.2 pounds. That's light enough for me.